Hello and welcome everyone. We are so excited to share with you in today's session, Centric pricing and the current state of global retail. We will be sharing exclusive insights on global market trends, and we hope this will be informative and useful in your own strategy discussions with your team on how to tackle today's hyper-competitive market. My name is Jade Huang, and I am the co-founder of StyleSage, now called Centric Pricing. StyleSage joined the Centric family about a year ago, and I'm so excited to be here today. We will first go over briefly what is Centric Pricing and how we partner with retailers such as yourselves. Then we will dive into key themes of global market trends that we've analyzed from our data. Lastly, we will summarize the opportunities and takeaways that you can bring back to your team right away and take action. But first, before we begin, let's talk about how retail is a tough business. There is a constant state of flux. For example, the supply chain disruptions from COVID that we are still recovering from, inflation, which has forced retailers around the world to raise prices, putting profitability pressure on each SKU. Not to mention the market becoming hyper competitive with both local and global brands and retailers at play. So what does this mean for all of us? What does this mean for retailers and brands everywhere? It means you need intel. You need actionable information. You need to keep track of what competitors are doing, particularly in the areas of pricing and assortment. It's like in sports. You'll never go into a championship game without studying your opponent's playbook and style. Retail is exactly the same. In knowing your competitors, you can now design smart strategies and products that capture your audience and stand out from the rest. So first, let's talk about when we will apply pricing strategies and how we should think about them. There are really two main areas that teams really need to manage. One is pre-season, and the other one is in season. And the tricky part is both happen in parallel at the same time against each other, because as you're selling the spring merchandise, you're already designing what's going to come next. So it's important that teams that are managing both of these seasons, both in season and pre-season, have a strategy behind how to develop the right pricing strategies. In pre-season, as you're designing your assortment and setting your pricing, the pricing really needs to capture the needs of your target consumer. For example, there's been numerous business case studies that are done on the successful pricing strategies behind Louis Vuitton's products, their offering and their pricing. They start with a simple wallet, which at a price point that perhaps as someone just graduate university and has started earning and start to have some disposable income, the first item that they may purchase. Then over time, they build that loyalty with the consumer so that eventually this person is able to walk their way up to purchasing bigger ticket items such as a handbag or luggage or some of the apparel items. Now, this really smart pricing strategy has been studied and talked about throughout time, and it illustrates the importance of setting your price right as you're designing your products and your assortment mix. Then comes in season, which is when your products are already being sold on the market. This is particularly crucial in monitoring the competitors and market on what the pricing is doing and what kind of sales are being run. Now, think about this in today's world where it's particularly the consumer sentiment is uncertain and there's still uncertainty around the economy as well. This means that the consumers are increasingly price sensitive. When your competitors run a big sale, a consumer is spending money there instead of with you. Many of our clients find it especially critical to monitor prices, particularly around key holiday sales seasons, and this really varies from country to country. So, for example, when the big sales happen in the US may be very, very different when it happens in Europe or when it happens in China or in Japan. So this types of understanding are particularly important, especially if your business goes beyond your home market where you have a deep understanding where some of these timings and sales happen. If you're starting to go after other markets, these are really important areas to really monitor and adjust pricing based on the reaction of the market here and abroad. But before we go into more pricing strategies, I think it's really important to understand what types of data is actually included within the Centric pricing platform that allows us to start thinking about pricing strategy and working with our clients to set the right way to approach the market. Within our platform, there contains several different data types. One is, which is the most important one actually, is the e-commerce analytics. We go out and collect e-commerce data of what is being sold, what is being offered to consumers, what is being put on sale, and what's been sold out. This data is collected from e-commerce sites from around the world every 24 hours. Over time, this means that not only can you see seasonal details across time, understanding, oh, in this particular market, Croatia, for example, when did my competitors start dropping products for the fall season? That would be an important data point to start thinking about when you should shift your supply chain schedule and drop products during that time. Or when do retailers start having sales during the Thanksgiving season in the US? We're starting to see that sales periods start to creep up close earlier and earlier before Thanksgiving happens. These are all different types of strategies and movements within each market that are really important for retailers to look at, and e-commerce data can really help with that. Next, we also have search data that we collect from Google. We organize it in such a way that are really relevant for each of the retailers based on the categories that are important to them. So for example, within the category of denim, what are the different denim trends that are trending more than others in terms of what consumers are searching for? Then lastly, we also collect email marketing and also homepage snapshots within our visual archive. This has been something really key for a lot of marketing teams to understand what are the products and categories that each of their competitors are emphasizing in their offering, and what are the things that they really want their consumers to start paying attention to and perhaps purchase. Now, behind all of this data is also really key machine learning and AI-driven technologies to really help us understand the market. So when we first started the company, Style Sage, now Centric Pricing, about 10 years ago, the first thing we needed to understand is that retail is a visual business. It's about how people package themselves, how they market themselves, how they communicate the world, but it's also about functionality, what's comfortable, what has pockets, what are things that you can, store and that utilize in multiple different ways. So we needed to train our machine to see the world the way you would, to see the world the way a consumer would. So take this simple example of this woman in this beautiful blue dress on screen here. Through our machine learning, we use a combination of natural language processing, which is to understand the product description and the text around it, as well as computer vision, which understands the image of the product itself. And as a result, we're able to extract new attributes like this is not just a dress. Not only is this a dress, it has high neck, it is sleeveless, it's composed of a blue lace material, it's a cocktail dress, and it's knee length. These are all different characteristics that consumers will find important as they're shopping for an item, maybe for a special occasion, or maybe they're just browsing. These are all different things that plays into that purchasing decision. And without that machine learning technology, we are unable to really understand what are the products that consumers get to choose from. That is a key part of what makes our technology special, and combined with the massive amounts of data we collect becomes a formidable tool for retailers and brands around the world to really understand the market. So in today, we're going to actually talk through some of the different questions that are important for your teams to ask as they think about how to get ahead of the market. One is, what are the competitors selling? Number two, what is their discounting strategy? And that means both how deep do they discount, what are they discounting, and also when are they discounting? And lastly, third, how are consumers responding? Are they searching for some of those items? If they're searching for something and there's high interest in a particular type of item, maybe it doesn't need to go into discounting. So there's multiple dimensions in thinking through how to get ahead of the market. But don't just listen to me, listen to our clients from around the world who's utilized Style Sage and Centric pricing to really go after the market. You can see that all these retailers are slightly different from each other, and it really highlights a universal theme in the need to understand the market. You have Board Riders, which specializes in sports and surfwear. You have Gap, which is a big heritage brand in the States here. We also have Neiman Marcus, a luxury department store. Lindex, Swedish retailer brand, all different kinds of retail businesses have seen success in looking through this data and helping them understand how to go after the market. So without further delay, let's see what all of this data can actually tell us. Now we're going to dive into some of the key retail themes that have defined this year so far.